भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, text number 36. Vyavahita pratna mukam niriksha. Vyavahita pratna mukam nirikshaya. Swajanavadad vimukash dosha buddhaya. Kumatim aharad atma vidyayash. Charanarati paramashyatasya mestu. Vyavahita pratana mukam nirikshya. Sajana vadad vimukasya dosha buddhaya. Kumadim maharad atma vidyayash. Charanarati paramashyatasya mestu. Vyavahita pratna mukam nirikshya. Swajanavadad vimukasya dosha buddhya. Kumatim maharadhatma vidyayash. Charan rati paramashyatasya mestu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Jai Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, Prabhupada. Translation. When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. Please repeat the translation. When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. Robert. The kings and the commanders were to stand in the front of the fighting soldiers. That was the system of actual fighting. The kings and commanders were not so-called presidents or ministers of defense as they are today. They would not stay home while the poor soldiers or mercenaries were fighting face to face. This may be the regulation of modern democracy. But when actual monarchy was prevailing, the monarchs were not cowards elected without consideration of qualification, as it was evident from the battlefield of Kurukshetra. All the executive heads of both parties, like Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Duryodhana, were not sleeping. All of them were actual participants in the fighting, which was selected to be executed at a place away from the civil residential quarters. This means that the innocent citizens were immune from all effects of fighting between the rival royal parties. The citizens had no business in seeing what was going to happen during such fighting. They were to pay 1/4 of their income to the ruler, whether he be Arjuna or Duryodhana. All the commanders of the parties on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were standing face to face, and Arjuna saw them in great compassion and lamented that he was to kill his kinsman on the battlefield for the sake of the empire. He was not at all afraid of the giant military phalanx presented by Duryodhana, but as a merciful devotee of the Lord, renunciation of worldly things was natural for him, and thus he decided not to fight for worldly possessions. But this was due to a poor fund of knowledge, and therefore it is said here that his intelligence became polluted. His intelligence could not be polluted at any time because he was a devotee and constant companion of the Lord, as is clear in the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Apparently, Arjuna's intelligence became polluted because otherwise there would not have been a chance to deliver the teachings of Bhagavad Gita for the good of all polluted, conditioned souls engaged in material bondage by the conception of the false material body. The Bhagavad Gita was delivered to the conditioned souls of the world to deliver them from the wrong conception of identifying the body with the soul and to re-establish the soul's eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Atma Vidya, or transcendental knowledge of himself, was primarily spoken by the Lord for the benefit of all concerned in all parts of the universe. This is in the Bhakti Vedanta Purport. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhashya Deshadharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are continuing reading the prayers by Bhishma Deva. So Bhishma Dev is remembering Krishna on the battlefield. So today's verse is saying Vyavahita na mukham nirikshaya. Vyavahita, standing at a distance. Pratna means the soldiers. And then mukham, face to face. So when Arjuna saw the opposite party, all his enemies and the soldiers standing at distance, Nirikshaya, Nirikshana, he observed. That is the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? Observing the armies on the battlefield. So in the Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, Senyor Ubihor Madhye, Ratam Stapaya Me Achyuta, Yavad Edat Niriksheham, Yodhukama Navastidan. So that was Arjuna asked, that was the thing that Arjuna asked to Arjuna, Krishna, Senyor Ubihor Madhye, Ratam Stapaya Me Achyuta. Take my chariot amidst the two armies. And then what happened when he goes there? Sajana vadhad vimukhasya dosha buddhya. When I realized that I had to fight against my family members, they're all my swajan, my own brothers, cousin brothers, teacher, grandfather, all of that is my family. So swajana vadhad, if I had to kill them, then vimukhasya, he was reluctant to do that. And then when he was reluctant, that is described here as dosha buddhaya, dosh buddhi. Dosh buddhi means polluted intelligence. Kumatim. Kumatim means poor fund of knowledge. So his own consideration, his own ideas, his own opinion. They're all my family members. How can kill him? How can I kill them? Krishna is asking you how to kill them. But he's thinking, how can I kill them? So this kind of intelligence, this kind of consciousness has been described here as dosha buddhaya. This is kumatim. This is not sumati. It's kumati. The bad, polluted intelligence, poor fund of knowledge. And then Krishna realized that his consciousness got polluted, contaminated. So then Krishna has to eradicate that contamination. So what Krishna did? Aharat, he eradicated that pollution, that contamination by Atma Vidya, by delivering the Atma Vidya, delivering the knowledge, the transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Right? So Bhishma Deva is remembering that. And then he's praying, Charana Rati Paramasya Tasya Mestu. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. So Krishna, who eradicated when Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. So Prabhupada is starting the purport by explaining the kings and the commanders were to stand in the front of the fighting soldiers. So this is the kind of Kshatriyas in those times, in those days. They're not like the modern Kshatriyas, modern rulers, the modern politicians. Prabhupada is giving the comparison. And it is, Krishna also explains, Kshatriya, a ruler, the administrator should be, a leader should be, Shauryam Tejo Dhritir Daksham Yuddhe Chapi Palayanam. So these are some of the qualities of the Kshatriyas, that they should show the Shauryam. Shaurya is the heroism. They should be like the real heroes, not like just bossing over, and when the real time comes to show your heroism, they first escape, they hide somewhere, and the poor soldiers has to fight and get killed. Not like that. So Prabhupada is relating here that they were the actual participants in the battlefield. They're not just sitting somewhere in the safe space and then ordering that you go and fight, and then we should be sitting here. Not like that. That is not the real Kshatriya. Kshatriya means Shauryam, Tejo, Dhritir. It should be determined. Daksham, resourceful. And then Yuddhe Chapya Palayanam. This is the quality which has been highlighted here in this particular verse we are reading today. Yuddhe Chapya Palayanam. Palayanam means run away. Apalayanam, they never run away. They're not scared. They're very brave. This is how the Kshatriyas are. And Prabhupada explains in his lectures many times. But how the Kshatriyas were, like Prabhupada was in one of the lectures saying that kings of Jaipur, so how they will rule the Kshatriya? They'll see that whether this person is qualified to be the ruler or not. It's not like, his father is a king and then the son should become. He should be qualified also. So they'll be tested. The young boy, the young Kshatriya boy, son of the king, the prince, they'll be put in a cage with a very deadly, violent tiger, lion, and they have to fight. So they were having that kind of guts that you can directly, fight with the lion and they will defeat. And they'll prove that yes, they're powerful. So it needs two kind of, power, two different types of strength. One is the physical strength. Many people can have the physical strength. Sometimes the Shudras also, like their body is like that. They're physically very strong. But more than that is the mental strength. Somebody is put into that cage with a tiger. What will happen? You'll get the heart attack, right? So you should be mentally very strong. The Kshatriyas are like that. They're dhritir. They're very determined. They're not, the coward people like that. And then also Danam, Ishwara Bhavasya. They're very expert in giving the charity. Charity in the sense anybody comes, ask them anything, they will never say no. They cannot say no because they have that Ishwar Bhava. Oh, if somebody is coming to me, then how can I deny? Of course, it should be legitimate ask. They cannot ask something that I want to become king. Not like that. But if somebody is really in need, he comes and he asks something, some charity, they will give the charity. So this is how Prabhupada is starting here, right? And then Prabhupada is also saying here another thing. This verse is explaining that when Arjuna was there, saying Yor Ubhiyor Madhye, Ratham Sthapaya Me Chuta, that please place my chariot. The chariot was there. And then what he saw, observing the armies, Niriksheham. So he is doing the Nirikshan. He is observing. Now this observation is a very interesting thing. How do you observe? Different people, they can observe the same thing differently. Different perspective. Depends on the consciousness of a person. The same thing can be seen differently. So what Arjuna saw that Swajana Badat, I had to kill my own family members. And then immediately with the thought, Bimukhasya, he became Bimukh. Bimukh means turning away from Krishna's will, Krishna's desire. Krishna's desire was to kill. But his observation is a little different. His observation was with dosh buddhi, this polluted intelligence. When our buddhi becomes contaminated, consciousness is polluted, then we see the things differently. And how differently we see? We see the things that will create the disaster. That is how we see. So this is called dosh buddhi, kumatim. So what is this dosh buddhi? What was Arjuna's observation? It was based on this dehatma buddhi, bodily concept of life. So this bodily concept of life is condemned in the scriptures. Right? Everybody in this material world is in the bodily concept of life. This is called Dehatma Buddhi. And when we read the scriptures, we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, many places this concept comes. Yashatma Buddhi Kunapetri Dhaduke Swadhi Kalatradi Shubhamya Yajadi Yat Tirtha Buddhi Salilena Karhichit Janeshu Abhigneshu Sa Eva Gokhara. The person who has this Dehatma Buddhi, this bodily concept of life, and with that perspective, with that consciousness, with that lens, if one try to see the things, observe the things, like Arjuna was doing here, Prabhupada clarifies that Arjuna has no way to get contaminated, but is playing a role. He's a great devotee and constant companion of the Lord, but he is playing the role here. So this contaminated consciousness is considered, it is compared with Gokhara, like the cow and the asses. It is compared to these animals. Yashatma buddhi kunpetri dhatuke. What is this contaminated consciousness? It is thinking that body as a self, three dhatu. This body which is made out of three dhatu, kapha, pitta, vayu, thinking that this body is my real self. Swadhi kalatradishu. And then thinking Swadhi, my family, kalatradishu, my wife, my children, this is all in all. Deha patra kalatradishu. Atma Saineshu Asaswapit, Tesham Pramattanadhanam, Pashyan Abhina Pashyati. So this kind of Buddha is condemned, thinking the body is the self, and then my family is, this is what is my whole world. Right? This kind of consciousness is the Atma Buddhi. So it is not only just limited to body and your Kalatradi, your family, your wife and kids, but it is little more extended, this Dehatma Buddhi. And it is described in the second kind of Srimad Bhagavatam. That verse says, Atmajaya Sutagara Pashu Dravana Bandhusu Rajya Chavikalam Nityam Virudam Mamatam Jahu. So there are 8 things. Atma means the self, the body, thinks that I am the body. Jaya, wife, spouse. Suta, Sut means offspring, the son or daughter. Atmajaya Sutagara. Agara means palace, the house where you live. Oh, this is my house. I have worked hard so much. Finally, after so many years of hard work, savings, I built the house. Immediately you start identifying, so much they feel proud about my house, my wife, my kids, my body. I'm so good looking. I'm so intelligent. These are all the Atma Buddhi. Atma, Jaya, Sutta, Agara, Pashu, Dravina Bandhushu. Pashu. The previous time Pashu means the cattles, but in the modern age, the cars, horsepower. Right? In those days there were horses, but now we have the horsepower. Right? Which car? I drive Tesla, Lamborghini, and they feel proud. I think this is what is my identity. You know. So anyway, sometimes people are so absorbed in this kind of consciousness, too grossly. Their consciousness is too gross. I remember long back in India, one person was coming, one of the donor. So this Mataji, they're like a little bit, in show off kind of people. So they bought a new Audi, some latest model or something. And she will be talking to everyone like, carrying the Audi key in the hand. So everybody sees that they owns the Audi, because in those days, many years back, those days having the Audi car is like a status symbol. Not everybody has that. And she'll be talking, and so much like you can just understand a little bit. Somebody is a devotee, they can very easily make out that they're too much into that car consciousness. Right? One time that key fell from the hand, She picked and she, oh my God, my Audi. That is how she reacted. Right. So this is the Atma Buddhi, Atma Jaya Sutagara, Pashu, all this car and the vehicles and all big things like that. And then Dravina. Dravina means wealth, bank balance. This is the Atma Buddhi. Person just keep feeling so happy. Oh, now it has become this much. Next year it will become that much. And then that much. I have to make it this much. So much they are absorbed in that. Pashu, Dravina, Bandhushu. Bandhushu means the relatives and friends. So this is also, people are very deeply concerned that they need the social acceptance. Oh, what my family, my relatives, my friends, how they think of me, what they think of me. Right. So Nindi say that सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग. All the time they are just concerned about what people think about me, how they should think about me. They just keep trying to impress the people around. That they should think that I am such a nice person, I'm a rich person, I'm a beautiful person, very kind-hearted person. They need social acceptance. So this is also and this Dehatma Buddhi. So Atmajaya Sutagara, Pashu Dravina Bandhushu Rajya. Rajya is kingdom. Now we all have our own kingdom, small or big. Pet kingdom is where you have some influence, some control. So people are working hard. How to create the influence? How can I control more and more? Number of people whom I can control should be keep increasing. That is their consciousness. So all of this consciousness is considered as the Atma Buddhi. So if somebody with this kind of Buddhi try to see the things, observe the things, then that Buddhi is considered as the Dosh Buddhaya. It is polluted consciousness. He cannot think the actual thing. He sees the thing, but Pashyan api na pashyati. He's seeing, but still he doesn't see. He doesn't see the reality. Because Dosh Buddhi is there. Kumati. Kumati is, Prabhupada is writing here, Kumati means a poor fund of knowledge. His knowledge is contaminated knowledge. I think this is what all in all. So with this consciousness, so Arjuna playing the role of Dosha Buddhya, Kumati, and then what happens as a result? He became averse to Krishna. You know. So Prabhupada is saying here, in one of the Prabhupada says, to become liberated means to become free from the Atma Buddhi. This is what is the liberation. Become free from the Dehatma Buddhi. And we discuss what is this Dehatma Buddhi. So far we are in this Dehatma Buddhi. Then what happens? Our Buddhi becomes, as we are hearing that, the famous verse from the 11th canto, Bhayam Dutya Abhiniveshatasya Ishad Apetasya Viparyayo Smritihi. Or Smriti, your intelligence becomes Viparyayo. Viparyayo means Apetasya Viparyayo Smritihi. Meaning that our intelligence, it turns away from the Lord. Lord wants that you fight and kill. And Arjuna is thinking, how can I kill? This is Viparyayo Buddhi. This is Dosha Buddhi. This is Kumati. Right. So when we are not in line with the Lord, that is when it is Dosha Buddhi, contaminated consciousness. So having our own ideas, our own opinions, our own considerations, that is Dosha Buddhi. So we should think, and what Krishna want? How can I please Krishna? That is the right Buddhi. So this Arjuna was having this Dosha Buddhi, Kumati, and then he was going against Vimukasya Dosha Buddhaya. He was turning away from Krishna. Right. So then what Krishna did to eradicate his ignorance, his Dosh Buddhi? Atma Vidyaya Yash. Krishna gave him Atma Vidya, which is Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so let us spend just few minutes and understand. In synopsis, we all know Bhagavad Gita. We are all students of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna gave him Bhagavad Gita. And this Atma Vidya was to deliver from wrong conception of the Atma Buddhi. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about 5 topics. What are the 5 topics? Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma. So what happens when the Jiva, he desire to enjoy independent from the Lord. What is that? Ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan zogi. I am the bhogi. I am the enjoyer. With that consciousness comes Chaitanya Charitamrita. This consciousness is said as Bhogavancha kare. Right? Krishna bhuliya jeev bhogavancha kare nikatastha maya dare japatiya dare. So when the jiva, we're talking about the five topics: Ishwar, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. So the jiva, when he desire to enjoy independent from Krishna, and then he try to exploit the nature, Prakriti, under the influence of the Kala, through his karma, through the actions. Let me enjoy in this way, in that way, a lot of plans, a lot of action, right? And when he does that with this consciousness that I want to become the enjoyer, dosh buddhi, then what happens? He becomes filled with chinta. Chintam aparemeyam cha pralyantam upashrita kamopabhoga parama etavad iti nishchaya. Krishna confirmed this. That when somebody is in that consciousness, dosh buddhi, that I want to enjoy more and more and more, then as a result, what happens? Chintam aparemeyam cha. Aparimey means immeasurable, unlimited chinta, innumerable chinta, so many, is filled with anxiety. He becomes very anxious. And for some time, no, pralayantam, up to the point of death, he'll be filled with anxiety only. If that consciousness, this dosh buddhi is there. What is that buddhi? Upashrita, you take the ashraya of this buddhi, kamopabhoga. I want to enjoy, right? And that is the supreme goal of my life, become the enjoyer. So when Jiva try to enjoy and then he exploits the Prakriti under the influence of the Kala and through his actions karma, then it will become filled with chinta. And then after so much of chinta, so much of anxiety, by some good fortune, by some good sense, he realized that it is not working out. Then he look up to Ishvara. He look up to Ishwar. And when he look up to Ishwar, then Ishwar guides him. And this is not the way. Not chinta. Should do chintan. Right? You should think of me. So that is what Krishna is doing. So Krishna guided and Krishna is guiding, and Krishna is actually eager to guide all of us. Because everyone in this material world with the desire of aham bhogi, I'm the enjoyer. The wrong conception. This is dosh buddhi, kumati. I'm the enjoyer. And then we are filled with chinta. Krishna is saying, do the chintan. How do we do the chintan? We have to read Bhagavad Gita. So how Krishna started Bhagavad Gita is, started with this concept of that, first of all, you should understand you are not the body, you are the soul. You are something beyond this body. Don't be in this bodily concept. You are actually the soul, and as a soul, you are part and parcel. You are my part and parcel. And then Krishna builds up that whatever you do as being the part, so this is chapter 2. Chapter 3. Krishna is saying, as being the part, how you should act. Yagnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. You should act only to please me, as the satisfaction, whatever you do, should be done for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, you get bound in this material world. Chapter 3. But how to act to please the Lord all the time? So, chapter 4. You should go and learn. Tad viddhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya. Go to a bona fide spiritual master. Serve him. Submit yourself. Do the seva. Ask the questions. He will guide you how to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Chapter 4. Chapter 5. Krishna says, please understand carefully that you are not the enjoyer. I am the Supreme Enjoyer. Bhoktaram yaktabzam sarvaloka maheshwaram. So this is the concept you should understand. You should develop this consciousness to come out from this kumati, from this dosha buddhi. And then by this consciousness, work hard, strive hard to connect with me in yoga. Right? And different kind of yoga. In all the yogas, the topmost yoga is Madgatena Antaratmana Yoginam Api Sarvesham. Among all the yogis, the topmost yogi is who always remembers me. We try to strive to become that yogi. How to become that yogi? Chapter 7. Maya asakt mana partha yogam yunjan madash. Asakt mana partha. Attach your mind into me. And by doing that, gradually, what will happen? Maybe you should be able to remember me at the time of death. Andagale cha mameva smarana muktva galevaram. Chapter 8. That should be the goal. That so much you should get attached that at the end of your life, in the last moment, should be able to remember me. But how to do that? How to remember the time of death? It will come. No, it doesn't come like that. Chapter 9. Satatam kirtayanto mam yadantasya dradavrata. You should practice Satatam kirtayanto. Always keep remembering me. Practice this chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when you practice that, then gradually you will be able to remember me at the time of death. Oh, but this is too much. Satatam. Sometimes it is okay, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. How can I do Satatam? Very difficult. Krishna says, I'll give you the way. Chapter 10. Everything in this material world, all these opulences, whatever you see in this material world, Krishna explains, I am the beginning, I am the middle, I am the end. Anything you are seeing here, you see the demigods, I am the Indra among the demigods. The Rudras, I am the Shiva. The Vasus, I am the fire. When you look at the mountain, I am the Meru. So everything is me in the whole creation. When you see the water bodies, I am the ocean. When you see the great sage, I am the Bhragu. When you hear some vibration, I am the Om. And from the sacrifices, I am the Japa Yagya. So Krishna is giving so many, wherever you see, you can always see me. You can always remember. Sthavara Jangama dekhe na dekhe Tara Murti. This is the consciousness of an advanced devotee. Sthavara Jangam dekhe na dekhe Tara Murti. He doesn't see that animate or inanimate objects. But Sarvatra Nij Deva Spurti. Whatever he sees in this material world, he sees, oh, this is coming from Krishna only. And Krishna is actually training us here. He said, when you, among the singers, I am the Chitraratha. Among the cows, I am the Surbi cow. Among the Daityas, I am the Pramad. Among the beast, I am the lion. Among the birds, I am Garuda. Rivers, I am the Ganges. Among the signs, I am the signs of the self. And I am the all-devouring death. Krishna has given like some 80 or 84 items. So we can meditate. And then by seeing everything around us, you can remember Krishna Satatam. Raso ham apsu kaunteya prabhashmi is. When you drink the water, I am the taste in the water. When you see the sunlight, moonlight, I am that. Balam balvatam chaham, kamarag vivarjitam, buddhir buddhim matamasmi. When you see a strong person, understand that the strength is coming from me. See intelligent person, intelligence coming from me. I am the ability in the man. So like that, when we start reading and contemplating and meditating, we can develop that. Whole idea is Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. And Krishna concludes the 10 chapters by saying, Yad Yad Vibhuti Masattam, Yad Yad Vibhuti Masatam, Srimad Urjitamai Baba. Whatever Vibhuti, whatever opulence you see in this material world, Tat Tat Eva Vagachatam, Mam Tejoham Shesham Babam. It is just a spark of my splendor. So remember that. So Krishna is training. And then with that consciousness, what you should do? Chapter 11. Mat Karmakrit Mat Paramo. Mad Bhakta Sangha Varjita. Now you should do Mat Karmakrit. Whatever you do, whatever karma you do, that should be for my sake. Mad Bhakto, become my devotee. Sangha Varjita, remain free from all this bad association. Nirvair Sarvbhuteshu, from all the living entities, you should not have any enmity. So like that, in chapter 11. And then Krishna also guiding that not only just me, but when you become Krishna conscious truly, then you should also learn how to deal with the people around you. You're still in this world, you are surrounded by so many people, your family, friends, relatives, society, and so many people around you. So what should be your, what do you say, the way to deal with those people? So then in the 12th chapter, he guides Advaishta Sarvbhutanam Matra Karuna Evacha. So you should be non-envious, Sarvbhutanam, Matra, Karuna. You should be very friendly, you should be very kind and compassionate. So like that, Krishna explains chapter 12. The chapter 13, he gives little more, the reasons that why in the first place come in this material world. Says you came karanam gunashangasha sadasat janmayonisu. When we had a desire to enjoy, and then immediately we comes under the influence of this gunasangasha, gunas. That is the seed of the living entity to be in this material world. Chapter 13. And that seed get nourished by the water. This water is 3 modes. Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun. And the seed start getting nourished. Chapter 14. 3 modes. And then the seed becomes a plant, a big tree. Chapter 15. Urdhva Madashaka Ashwatham Prahur. So it become a big tree. It started with a small seed, and you're nourishing the modes, becoming a big tree. In the tree, the two different branches, divine and demoniac. Chapter 16. Right. So there, and then it further, and then Krishna explains that in this material world, how you should live, that in three modes, the food and the sacrifice and the austerity and charity, and different ways you can pursue all of this. And finally Krishna brings to complete surrender. This is what is the Atma Vidya. So Atma Vidya starts from the ignorance, the person who is in ignorance thinking that I am the enjoyer, to change this concept that you are not the enjoyer, you are actually my part and parcel. I am the supreme enjoyer. And as being the part and parcel, your duty is Jivaraswarupa Nitya Krishna Das should engage in serving me. Then you will also enjoy. So what to do? Sarvadharman Parityaja. All your conception, all your Dehatma Buddhi, my wife, my kids, my this thing, I am something very important, I am someone very important, all this kind of ideas, give up all this. And then surrender unto me. All your ideas, all your opinions, all your considerations, everything. Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Surrender. So when this buddhi comes, then what happens? Krishna gave this buddhi, Atma, Vidya, to eradicate his ignorance, his dosha buddhi, his kumati. And then Krishna confirms Arjuna confirms actually this one, that at the end of hearing this Atma Vidya, what happened to Arjuna? Nastamoha smrti ladva tat prasada mechuda stito asmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam dava. That all my nasta moha smrti ladva, my illusion is dispelled, and smrtir ladva. Earlier he became viparyayo smritihi. His smriti was turning him away from Krishna. Now smriti ladva, I gained the true smriti, true intelligence, which is that I am your part and parcel. I am expected to, my constitutional position is to serve you. That buddhi comes by this Atma Vidya. So this is the Bhagavad Gita in synopsis, which Bhishma Deva is remembering here on the battlefield, and Arjuna was confused like that. Dosh buddhi, and then you delivered to eradicate his contamination, his polluted consciousness, and then you delivered this Atma Vidya, and then he surrendered to you. And then finally submitted that Karishye Vachanam Dava, that Krishna, I'll do what you say. And then Krishna also confirms in the 18th chapter, he says, Adhyeshyate chaya imam dharmyam samvadam avyayoho jnana yagyena tenaham ishta swam iti me matihi. I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. So when we read Bhagavad Gita, we should always remember, just by reading Bhagavad Gita daily, from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, the sacred conversation, we are worshipping Krishna. So we can worship Krishna by reading this. And that is the reason that Krishna delivered this. Arjuna was a pure devotee, his personal associate. So for him, there's no reason to get contaminated like this. But he did the role play so that Krishna can deliver this message of Bhagavad Gita for all the conditioned soul in this material world. Those who have this dosh buddhi, kumati, viparya smriti. So that's the whole idea of practicing Krishna consciousness, and how we can, this kumati, how we can turn into sumati. Kumati is I am the enjoyer, aham bhogi. Two, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. I am the boss. Two, I am the servant. I am the servant of not only Krishna, Dasa no Das, servant of the servant of the servant. So bringing that buddhi, that consciousness, in the whole idea of this practicing Krishna consciousness. So keeping that in mind, should sincerely read Srila Prabhupada books. So Krishna delivered this 5,000 years back, and then Prabhupada came. Krishna sent Prabhupada to make this Atma Vidya easily accessible to everyone in this world. And this has been a very, very unique contribution of Srila Prabhupada, that he tirelessly worked hard without even sleeping, and then he translated all this literature and make it available for all of us to read. Now, this is our duty, that we all read this knowledge, not only just read, but try to practice it sincerely and then become free from this dosh buddhi, right? And that free from dosh buddhi means we become Krishna conscious, Krishna mati, Krishna buddhi. Okay. So this Bhishma Deva is remembering this and is praying that Charanarati Paramashyatashyamestu, that may his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. So these are some of the thoughts on this verse. And what is any quick question or any comment we can take up?
Where it comes?
It comes in the 11th canto. I think this is a conversation between this Navayogendra Janimi Maharaj. Okay.